Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's finally here. Some of the biggest changes coming to our lifetime in politics. The term limits bill is now up. We have the tax cuts bill is now up. Everything being pushed through budget reconciliation. This looks phenomenal. Mike Johnson has even said that Trump wants everyone working nights and weekends in the first 100 days to get all this passed through, guys. This is awesome. We also have Dan Bongino, who literally goes off on government, who said, because you will not believe it, but the dang North Carolina government has come out and said that those that were affected by the natural disasters and may have lost their homes still need to pay their property taxes or they'll be delinquent. You got to be kidding me. Biden is deciding to send another final $500 million in aid to Ukraine for their weapons when North Carolina needs help. Los Angeles is burning down as we speak. People over the past 4 years that need help in all the natural disasters have only gotten measly $200-300 checks, and yet Biden is overlooking them again. And believe it or not, Senator John Fetterman has said that he is voting for Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. for their respective positions in the cabinet and told Democrats not to freak out about Trump's proposal to acquire Greenland. Also, there are talks now for Trump to sue MSNBC for the new defamation of them calling him an insurrectionist and a rapist live on air. Guys, when you see this, I know it's going to make you mad if you love MAGA, but I'm telling you, they haven't learned their lesson, even with the ABC lawsuit. We got a ton of breaking news to go over today, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, all of our viewers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to everybody who is a member of the channel. We are so grateful for your support. If you want to join the TrueLife News family, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation where we give that money to charity. We're so grateful for your support. We're going to jump right into this because this is phenomenal news of what you're about to see. Check this out. Oh my goodness. Sorry, y'all. 1 second.
Doing the work, doing the math, making sure that the fraud, waste, and abuse that we know is rife in the federal government is scaled down. Remember, at the same time, we're also going to have the Doge initiative going on with Elon Musk heading that up, and Vivek Ramaswamy is involved as well. And many other people. We will have experts from the outside coming in and helping us look at the books and make sure that we are cutting this down. And I think that we can do this. I think when you reduce the size of the government, reduce red tape and regulations, and you can unleash the free market again. That's how we had and brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world prior to COVID under the first Trump administration. We can do that again.
Is there any chance in the next 2 years, this next Congress, that the tax code is going to be revised? Because I would bet my right arm that 90% of your own members don't even prepare their own taxes. I mean, most of us just close our eyes and sign it with tax preparers, hoping we don't go to jail, because it's so complicated. And it's just become impossible. Nobody understands it, and members of Congress don't even understand it, and they write it.
Yeah, well, it's true. Now, remember, one of the marquee achievements of the first Trump administration was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the TCJA, as we call it. And that was a pretty dramatic reduction in the Internal Revenue Code. It did simplify a lot of things, and it ushered in a great economy because we reduced corporate tax rates and individual tax rates, and of course, we reduced regulations at the same time, and that's what got everything going again. It was like fuel to the U.S. economy. But here's the problem. If we don't extend those Trump-era tax cuts, they will expire at the end of this year.
Yep.
So this is an urgent, high-priority matter for us, and we'll get it done.
But you could have the tax cuts yet still simplify the tax code. You could achieve both at the same time because it really is incomprehensible. So you could achieve getting the tax cuts to encourage the economy to grow, whatever. But the tax code itself is quite daunting. Nobody understands it.
There's always more work to do on that front, and I am certainly a big fan and advocate of that, as you are. The further you can simplify it, the easier it is on taxpayers, and I think that serves the country well. So I think that's going to be in the mix, Greta. I think there will be a lot of discussion about that, and a lot of hard work to be done in a very short amount of time, because remember, we want to deliver this to the president's desk by hopefully the end of April at the latest. And so we've got a lot of work to do between now and then, and there'll be long days and long nights here. But we've already told all the House Republicans and Senate Republicans, be ready to work overtime, and inform your spouses now. This is going to be a tough season, but it'll be worth it in the end for all of us.
Yes. Work nights, work weekends, put in the dang work, take care of America, put them first, guys. We got term limits to talk about. But Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I wonder who's going to help pass the bill that Joe Biden wants to pass. Don't tell me. Please don't tell me Mike Johnson, the rhino, right? Well, the money that Biden is given is from our own defense. Remember, we have an almost $1 trillion defense budget that he just pulled $500 million from, which is $500 million, to give to Ukraine. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. But I love this, guys. This is gaining more support. Republicans, led by Senator Cruz, have introduced a joint resolution proposing a constitutional amendment to impose term limits for members of Congress. Why? Because we got a clean house, guys. Trump's plan limits House members to 6 years and senators to 12 years, which would remove 73% of the Congress, and also it would remove 46 senators from the Senate. So think about it. 3/4 of Congress gone. Half of the Senate gone on day one when this bill amendment is introduced. Why? Because they're all in there. They've all been in there for way too long. We need to get some new blood in there so that they can't be bought off by lobbyists. What I want to show you next, guys, I'm telling you, Bongino goes off, and I don't blame him. I'm with him in the same thing, just because when you look at what's happening with Biden giving away so much money, and we still are here with so many Americans that are suffering, it's sick. Look at this.
I was going to play this video the other day, and I got to tell you, I'm glad it didn't fit into the show because it fits in right here perfectly. Showing you, again, the incompetence of government. Think about what you do for government. You work your ass off every single day. Every single person in this chat. You work your ass off every day to feed your family, right? You give government anywhere from 20 to 40% or more of your money. Think about that. 4 out of every 10 hours for a lot of you, between state, federal, local government, property taxes, school taxes, 4 out of every 10 hours you work to support government. They can't educate your kids. In liberal cities, they can't keep you from being burned on the subway. They can't actively do fire control so your house doesn't burn down. They're totally unprepared in disaster response when something happens like in Asheville, the flooding in Asheville. They can't do anything right, and yet you work nearly half your life to support the...
Golly, sorry, guys.
And you wonder why I'm such a conservatarian at heart and hates every dollar I give to the government outside of our military and constitutionally protected rules of government, police force and things like that. Why? Because they suck. They cannot do anything right. Everything they touch, they destroy. It's not just that they can't do anything right. It's that they, pardon my language, they f everything up all the time. If you had a private company of people, I'm not kidding you, with an 8th grade education doing land management in LA, they would have figured out burn control and fire management better than these freaking idiots you're working half your life to support. Yes, this is the time. I want to show you this video. Remember the disastrous flooding in Asheville, North Carolina, which, by the way, they're still dealing with. They're not even close. This thing isn't even 1/1000th resolved. People were wiped out. You remember that? You had the hurricane that blew over, went in to complete wipeout of the town. It wasn't just North Carolina, it was other states too. You know that. I want you to listen to this. This is one of the officials, and I'm not blaming her. She's just reading the law. I want to be clear, so don't, it's not about the person. It's about the message here. They're given a press conference, and they proceed to tell the people of North Carolina in that area, hey, man, listen, even though you have no home left, you better damn well pay them property taxes. What? We paid you the property taxes. You guys still can't do anything. Nobody can ever do anything right in government, but make sure you pay the bill. Check this out.
As a reminder, today is the last day to pay your property tax bill before it becomes delinquent. Please note that North Carolina law does not permit property tax waivers or exceptions for natural disasters, including Hurricane Helene.
Again, it's not about the woman. There's nothing to do with it. She's just reading this thing that was put in front of her about what the law is. I feel bad she had to do it, too. She's sitting there reading this thing. Here's a reminder. You have to pay. No one figured this out? Like, maybe after the town was wiped out, someone should have got together. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, and said, hey, we're going to put a suspension on this until we can reassess if these properties are even worth anything and these people may need their money. Like, nobody thought of that? If it was a private company, I assure you, they would have thought about it to keep their customers. Because the government is all about all the time, they don't care. They're a third party. They don't give a pay your money or you're going to jail. Nobody else can do that. The doctor can't say, pay me, use me, I'm going to put you in prison. The lawyer can't say that, but government can. Folks, government sucks. Government sucks. Everything the government does sucks all the time. Government sucks. Government sucks. You understand? Sucks. There's nothing they do right. Nothing. Thankfully, we have brave men in our military, but the Pentagon's even screwed that up. Government sucks. Federalist 51, kids. Sometimes you wish men were angels because we can get rid of these idiots. They are morons. Now do you see why Trump the wrecking ball? Do you see why people have gravitated to Donald Trump, North Carolina? I was reading a story the other day about counties in LA that are largely black that have moved dramatically in the direction of Trump, 5- and 6-point gains. It was in the Wall Street Journal if you want to check it out in the op-ed column. How the only place Trump lost votes, lost ground, was with white, rich liberals. I'm not making a racial game out of it. This was just a demographic breakdown. White, rich liberals love Democrats still, despite their places burning to the ground, their subway system, their education system. Everything's garbage. White, rich liberals are so rich, they don't care. They can hire their own security and send their kids to private schools. That's the only reason they keep voting Democrat. Blacks, Hispanics. And by the way, wealthy black families moved in the direction of Donald Trump from 2020. So it's not a rich person thing. It's a rich white person thing. The same people telling you about white rage and things like that. This is why Donald Trump resonates. Because government sucks. And Donald Trump, transactional Donald Trump, spreadsheet Donald Trump, who does not want to play political games. He doesn't care how you do things. That's why this record's, man, I'm like, hold on. Whew. Thank you, John, from Blackout, for making one of my better openings in a long time. Kid's in a mood today. This is why transactional Trump. When it comes down to this reconciliation package they're talking about, there's a big debate. Do they do one big package and throw everything in it when Trump swears in taxes, the border, national defense, everything? Or they do two? Trump's at the point now, he's like, guys, I don't get it done. Here's what I want done.
Guys,
you
I'm so
do
sorry.
it. I prefer one big package. Trump's saying at this point, I don't care you get it done, but you better damn well get it done or I'm going to put the squeeze to you. That's what leadership is. That's what BHAGs are. Big, hairy, audacious goals. The man is transactional. He sees the world as a spreadsheet. People are tired. Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, black voters, Hispanic voters, they're tired of the passionate speeches about coexistence and DEI and we all got to get along. Just do your freaking job and get the hell out of my life and make sure my place don't freaking burn down.
Guys, and I'm telling you, you talk about somebody who is livid right now. There's so much that's like being posted right now over what's happening in California. Trump posted, Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snowmelt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. Right now, I think it's over like 10,000 acres now. He wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work, but didn't care about the people of California. Now the ultimate price is being paid. I will demand this incompetent governor allow beautiful, clean, fresh water to flow into California. He is the blame for this. On top of it all, no water for fire hydrants, not firefighting planes. A true disaster. I'm telling you guys, like, the amount of government incompetency is, to me, at its highest level. Like, people are saying that our government would rather, they waste money, they can't get things done, give it to a private party, let them actually do a good job. It is insane to also read Biden to announce final $500 million in Ukraine military aid. Couple days before he's supposed to leave office, go ahead, throw an extra $500 million. Why not? Go ahead, screw it more to the American people that truly need help, that are hurting right now. That you heard that lady. Hey, North Carolina says it doesn't matter if there's a natural disaster, you still got to pay your property taxes. If there's anything that is seriously a spit in the face to the American people, it's what North Carolina government is doing to those poor people that pretty much lost everything. And on top of that, guys, I want you to hear this because this is big time. This is coming from what's going on with the whole, I mean, right now they say Trump's going to do something with this, but the New York case, what's happening? Trump is going to the Supreme Court right now to make something happen. Listen to this.
Has filed an emergency motion with the Supreme Court to stop the sentencing in his New York criminal case, which is set for Friday at 9:30 in the morning. Eric Shawn has been following all of this. Tell me, Eric, what happens now?
Well, right now, Stuart, it's up to the Supreme Court. President-elect Trump's lawyers are filing an emergency motion to the High Court to stop his sentencing on Friday. The bid will first go to Justice Sonia Sotomayor because she handles the jurisdiction of New York. She can then refer it to the full court to decide if Trump's lawyers are correct. They argue that Trump's sentencing on his 34 felony counts for paying off Stormy Daniels should not go forward day after tomorrow because the High Court has already given presidents wide immunity for official acts. They claim, quote, the New York trial court lacks authority to impose sentence and judgment on President Trump or conduct any further criminal proceedings against him. And Trump spokesman Stephen Chung says, quote, the Supreme Court's historic decision on immunity, the Constitution, and established legal precedent mandate that this meritless hoax be immediately dismissed. But Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg counters that Trump's actions were before he was president and were not part of his official duties. The sentencing was allowed to proceed by the New York State Appellate Court. One judge ruling that Trump's arguments over presidential immunity lacked any merit. Associate Justice Ellen Gessmer, who gave the sentencing the green light, questioned Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche's argument about presidential immunity, asking him, quote, do you have any support for a notion that presidential immunity extends to presidents-elect? Blanche responded, there has never been a case like this before, so no. Sotomayor gave prosecutors until 10 a.m. this morning, about 20 minutes from now, to answer their response. Judge Merchan has indicated, though, that he will impose what's called a conditional discharge on the president-elect on Friday. If this goes forward, that means Mr. Trump will face no sanctions, such as a fine and no jail time. Stu?
Got it. Thanks very much indeed. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich joins me now. Newt, are Trump's legal troubles just about over? I asked the question because Senator Schiff from California says, you know, I know you're laughing, he's going to continue to investigate Trump in his second term.
Well, of course he is. I mean, look, President Trump has been through 9 years of everybody on the left trying to destroy him because he is the greatest threat to their world that we've seen in my lifetime. And so they're going to do everything they can every day. It's why I keep trying to tell Republicans that thinking about victory in 26 is vital, because if we lose the House in 26, we're going to be right back in a Nancy Pelosi warfare environment, where the Democrats will try to use investigations, impeachment, whatever they can. I mean, the thing that's going on here, I think, is so important. Donald Trump is a serious person. He actually intends to break up the swamp, to take apart the establishment, to fundamentally reset American government back on constitutional principles. Well, if you're a left-wing advocate, this is a nightmare. This is life and death for them. This is Armageddon. And so they will do anything they can, no matter how stupid or how outrageous. They'll do anything to stop him because he's a mortal threat to their world. As a historian and a former speaker, it's absolutely fascinating.
Do you think that the GOP in the House has sufficient discipline and unity to get through what Trump wants to get through?
Well, I just wrote a newsletter at Gingrich 360 arguing that there should be one bill, that Trump's right, one big, beautiful bill. It should include the border, but more importantly, it should include tax cuts, regulatory reform, be aimed at improving affordability for Americans. I believe he can get one bill through if he spends 2.5 months barnstorming the country. There are at least 12 seats Democrats held in the House that he carried the district. He should be in every one of those districts having a rally in favor of jobs, economic growth, take-home pay, affordability. And I think he will be able to get one big bill through. I worry very much if we split them up, because historically, the record in the Senate is that it's so slow. Remember, in 2017, the bill didn't pass till December. We lost 40 seats.
Yep.
When Reagan passed the tax cut in 81, they didn't go into effect till 83. We lost 26 seats in 82. If we're going to keep the House, we need one big bill this spring, either Memorial Day, as Speaker Johnson said. I'd accept July 4th, but no later than that. And that will give us enough economic growth that I think Trump will be in tremendous shape. But it's going to be a fight. I mean, we should understand, we did not win a realigning election. We won a de-aligning election. The country right now is waiting to see. If Trump succeeds, he's going to build a coalition like Franklin Roosevelt. But to succeed, he has to get economic growth.
And he's got to get out and barnstorm for that one.
Guys, we got to get the economy going. I want to show you this real quick. So Trump has actually posted another post on True Social. I want to say real quick, thank you so much, Bonnie Morris, for the super chat. Said it's so refreshing to find a site that does not use a foul language and is so informative. Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much, Bonnie. We try to do our best to clean it, make it clean. And thank you so much, Surgical Wizard, for the super chat. It's sad because the water plant is getting water from the ocean. I live in Southern California by the fires. Hope you're okay, Surgical Wizard. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. It is crazy what is going on, what I'm about to show you. But right now, as of this moment, Gavin Newsom, this is what Trump said, and his Los Angeles crew have contained exactly 0% of the fire. It is burning at levels that even surpassed last night. This is not government. I can't wait till January 20th. It's very rare to see Trump post two things back to back whenever it comes to an issue or whatnot. But look at this. This is literally reports from the Los Angeles Times. Lack of water from hydrants in Palisades, or however you pronounce that. Fire is hurting firefighters. Firefighters running out of water as fires tear through Los Angeles. Literally heartbreaking right now what's going on, and it shouldn't be going on because of the government in California is just so incompetent. But I wanted to show you this too, guys, because I'm telling you, there's about to be another defamation lawsuit over what has gone on with what they're talking about with Trump. And I'm telling you, I love it because, you know what? Just keep going ahead and giving Trump some more money. Listen to this.
They are targeting the wealthy. We are in the midst of a series of small revolutions to correct income inequality. And the reason we put an insurrectionist and a rapist in office is because for the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were.
Let me have it. I'm going to ask to play that again. By the way, Denver, I know the live chat is up, having your back. You guys are great. But I wanted that for dramatic purposes. First, I understand it took a longer cut. We're going to play this. President Trump, Mike Davis is going to come later. I'm calling on Boris Epstein and the team for President Trump. They should sue Galloway immediately. Do you not see what happened at ABC? You punk. Let me tell you something, bro. You people in that Morning Joe crowd, you're the Washington consensus. Hell, you advertise it every day. We're what Washington thinks. We're what New York City thinks. We think this. We think that. We're thinking great thoughts. It was you that did nothing. It was you that did nothing. And you're sitting up there, Mr. Marketing Professor at NYU, the Stern School, Mr. Genius, thinking big thoughts. How dare you call this audience a group of insurrectionists? This audience has saved the nation. Folks, now you know we're up against not just taking on the world and taking on the established order, because the established order is so impoverished. The established order is what have all those kids are supporting the gunman. The anger is going to come to you guys. You had every possibility. You controlled the entire government. After you stole a freaking election, why didn't you do anything with it? All this belly aching about the wealthy and the class and the working class right here. It shows you Robert Reich, little Robert Reich. He told you 30 years ago, he told Clinton, that Clinton cared? No, they're globalist. Right? Come over to our side. Come on, man. Come on, man. Can we have another one of those? Is that like a wake-up call for me? Just, okay, Denver. No paybacks on this. It's right there in the New York Times. They lay out the entire thing. The entire thing. That ain't Breitbart. That's not Gateway Pundit. That's not Kane over Citizens Free Press, although he ought to link to this story. It shows you. They were indifferent. You know why? Because they were making money and their donors are making more money than ever. They sold their country out and they sold their countrymen out and they sold the people that were the ballast of their party. And they're shocked they didn't turn up to vote for them. They hate you. Let me repeat this. They hate you. So Galloway, you ought to be damn afraid. You see him sitting there? It's a revolution. It's mini revolutions. It's mini revolution. Yeah, it's going to be a big old revolution. We tell you, and I say this all the time, when the donors come, and I said, you got two choices, and only two. You got a choice to follow this populist, nationalist MAGA movement that's trying to bring some fairness to this country and peace and prosperity. We're trying to stop the invade everybody, invite everybody. In Galloway, you guys sit there at NYU and you sit there at Morning Joe and the immigration flooding the zone. Where were you, brother, on the 15 million illegal alien invaders that came into this country in an organized fashion to destroy the black and Hispanic, low-skilled working class in this country? Where were you, sir? Where were you? You know where you were, looking in the mirror saying, why am I unhappy? I sold my business and, you know, the first $10 million was free. They're not taxes. The tax rate is all of it. It's all of it. And we're going to get to all of it. But the first thing we have to do is understand the mentality of you folks that are the running dogs for this system. The running dogs for this system. The whole system conspires against the working and middle class. You, this audience, you are the full faith and credit of the United States of America. The full faith and credit. It's not the SEC. It's not the Federal Reserve. It's not the Treasury Department. It's not the government. It's you. The whole world depends upon you. It's all on your shoulders. Scott Galloway's he's worried now. Because in New York City, they're gunning people down. We don't support that at all. We're the ones trying to come up with a solution that takes away that anger, that takes away that mentality, that mindset. What do you call it? The gestalt? Zeitgeist? I'm using all kind of big-time Freudian concepts, you know, from the Frankfurt School, oh my God, that brought so much hate over here. Galloway, you and the running dogs, and you're running dogs of Morning Joe. You're the Washington consensus. You had all the power. You could have shifted this anywhere. Little war room, little tiny war room with some crazy Mick yelling to a microphone and a bunch of people that don't count, according to you. Hey, guess what? Punch way above their weight.
I'm telling you, I feel like there's a reckoning coming in. Guys, Trump just posted another one. He said no water in the fire hydrants, no money in FEMA. This is what Joe Biden is leaving me. Thanks, Joe. Not only that, no money in FEMA. Guess what? Remember I told you Biden is sending another $500 million to Ukraine? Listen to this.
Breaking news right now while we're live on air. Biden has now announced $500 million to be sent to Ukraine for military aid. $500 million. You know who could use $500 million? The people of Southern California could use $500 million. But Joe Biden hates the citizens of this country. He always has. And it's going to change in 11 days and 22 hours. In 11 days and 22 hours, a new movement will take control of the United States government. By the way, where is FEMA? I'm sure there's some federal government response here, but Joe Biden didn't care about Western North Carolina. He didn't care about the people of Georgia. He didn't care about flooding. It's all just a very big annoyance to him. Well, in 11 days, it changes. We're going to take back this country, and we are going to hit the ground running. Executive orders, pardons, clemency, ending wars, prosperity, drill, baby, drill.
I love it. Lots of good stuff coming. More stuff coming from, again, I showed you earlier in the channel. Check this out. So Cruz proposes term limits for Congress. Republicans led by Senator Ted Cruz have introduced a joint resolution proposing a constitutional amendment to impose term limits for members of Congress. This is good stuff. I love it. Being a patriot. Get in, serve your country, then get out. Go do something else and serve the country in a different way. Listen to Ted Cruz. Check this out.
Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz. All right, so Republicans now have the House. There was an 80% prediction that Republicans would lose the House. They have a slim majority. Mike Johnson will be Speaker. John Thune is Majority Leader. Are you confident that this agenda, the simple part of the Trump agenda, will get done? I know you got into it a little bit with my colleague Larry Kudlow over one bill or multiple bills. Where does it stand now?
Look, I am confident. We have to deliver results. Don Jr. just a moment ago was exactly right. There is a clear and unequivocal mandate from the voters in November, and we have to deliver on it. We've been given Republican control of the White House, the Senate, and the House. We can't waste it. Now, if you look at the different elements of the Trump agenda, front and center is securing the border. I am confident we will secure the border beginning on January 20th. Joe Biden broke the border through unilateral executive action, and on January 20th, catch and release is going to end. And Sean, mark my words, we will see in January and February of this year the illegal immigration numbers plummet. We're also going to see Congress, we are going to pass major legislation supporting securing the border, funding the border wall, hiring more Border Patrol agents, investing in assets like fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft and drones and infrared. We are going to provide the statutory backup for Trump's leadership. We will secure the border.
Yes.
When it comes to inflation, there's a clear mandate from the voters on inflation to turn it around. A big part of the cause of inflation has been Joe Biden and the Democrats' war on energy and Texas oil and gas. That is going to end on January 20th, and I believe Congress is also going to pass legislation enhancing energy production in the United States, which will lower costs not just at the gas tank, but also in the grocery store, in the department store. Everything you buy, energy is a major driver of cost. We'll deliver on that. There's also a mandate to end the politicization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. I am confident we will get that done. I believe every one of Trump's cabinet nominees will be confirmed by the Senate. That is critically important. And there's a mandate to end the wars, to defeat our enemies and stand with our friends. And I'm going to make a prediction. I think there is a very real possibility that we will see the hostages in Gaza released on or before January 20th. You go back to 1981 when Ronald Reagan was sworn in. Iran released the hostages on January 20th, the day he was sworn in. I think we will see that again either on or before January 20th because Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, Donald Trump scares the living daylights out of them. The message he gave that all hell will break loose, that was an incredibly important message and one, sadly, Joe Biden and the Democrats are incapable of giving because they don't believe it and they wouldn't follow through on it.
What do you make about Vindictive Joe and selling off parts of the border wall and putting a moratorium in place on drilling and fracking?
Yeah, look, it's grotesque. I have never seen an outgoing president do what Joe Biden has done in the last 2 months. He is demonstrating absolute contempt for the American voters and contempt for democracy. Every day, what he is trying to do is tie Donald Trump's hands and prevent him from carrying out the mandate the voters gave him, whether it is taking 625 million acres of offshore drilling and trying to ban the drilling there, which is just stealing from the American people, whether it's trying to sell off the border wall, whether it is signing contracts with government unions, giving them the right not to have to show up at work, but to stay at home and pretend they're working, or whether it is granting pardons that are just shameless, from Hunter Biden to 37 murderers on death row, removing them, to releasing terrorists from Guantanamo. He is demonstrating an arrogance. You know, the Democrats love to strut around like peacocks and say how much they love democracy. This is showing an absolute contempt for democracy.
I think it's well said. Can the economy, energy, and borders be done in one reconciliation bill?
Can they? Sure. And look, I support whatever gets it done. I think doing it all in one giant bill is going to be tough. And so I think there's a very reasonable debate about what would be more effective. I think if we took up a reconciliation bill quickly and secured the border and did energy and defense, we could unify Republicans and get a quick win. And then we've got to extend the tax cuts. We're going to do that. We're going to make it bigger and bolder. And I also believe Congress will pass my no taxes on tips bill and will put it on President Trump's desk even before reconciliation happens.
I don't want the low-hanging fruit, and that means the harder stuff comes later. The longer you wait, the harder it will be. That's my little bit of advice to the people in D.C. Senator, great to see you.
Guys, big news. Like, I want to show you, because a lot of stuff's happening, but there is something super important I want to show you that to this day, 4 years ago, Twitter suspended Donald Trump on this day. And think about where the country is at right now, 4 years from now. 4 years later, where the country has completely done a 180, moving in the right direction. I 100% love it. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. He said the demo rats want to work with Trump is because their election is coming soon. Then after the win, they will backstab Trump again. And we got to make sure, be careful of that. And thank you so much, Brian McGavick, who said, why can't we stop Biden from giving away our money? Let's go, guys. Thank y'all so much for the super chats. Y'all show Andy and Brian some love in the chat. The big thing is when you look at where the money has already been allocated, everybody, there's money that Biden can reallocate because it's already passed in the budget. He doesn't have to go through Congress again. That's the worst part about where we have so many loopholes in the government that allow for the president to do that. And that's stuff that we got to clean up. That's what Doge has said they're vowing to clean up. And I want to show you this too. Senator John Fetterman tells Democrats not to freak out over Trump's proposal to acquire Greenland. It's a responsible conversation. Remember, the Louisiana Purchase, I think Alaska was a pretty great deal too. So again, too, common sense. I don't know about y'all, but I'm really liking Fetterman. This guy has come out with some of the most common sense things ever. And I got to give some love to our boy, Scott Jennings, over this because, again, too, expanding the U.S. is a good thing. We should be doing it. Listen to this.
But America is not an expansionist military power, not in the 21st century.
Why?
Okay? Because that's...
Why not?
because that's not the world that we live in.
Wait, hold on, Scott. You answered that question.
Yes.
Why is the United States not...
So you're for attacking Greenland?
Why is the United States not an expansionist military power?
I said you're open to the idea of attacking Greenland?
We created...
No, we don't need to attack Greenland. We could buy it. We can't buy it. It's not up for sale. So what you're saying is not true.
Order
everything's not for sale until
it is. Hang on, Scott. We helped create a world order in which we said you cannot just decide you want that country and then take your military and go into that country and take it. Okay? So that is the era of not being in an expansionist military era for the United States. And you're saying that's not true. Why is it not true?
Well, I mean, you can think small if you want to. I think Trump's thinking big, and he's thinking about U.S. interests. There are U.S. interests in Greenland. They have rare earth minerals. We already have some kind of space facility there, and it would help fortify us against the Russians. The Panama Canal is, of course, of interest when you consider the Chinese incursions and influence in this hemisphere. What Donald Trump is saying to the world is, we are not a shrinking violet anymore. No. We are the United States of America. We are the preeminent superpower. And reporters keep asking him to rule things out and take things off the table. And it would be the height of stupidity to do so now or to anything else before he takes office. Why would he tell the rest of the world what he may or may not do?
Here's one reason why.
Guys, I love it, guys. I mean, do you see, like, it's honestly shows you who has the backbone, who is supporting the growth of America, who says that we can actually get things done. And it's, I mean, Republicans aren't afraid. Like when Trump says, hey, why don't we get Greenland? Guys, they only have like 60,000 people that live there, I think. I think that's the number. Why don't we go ahead and expand it? But I wanted to show you something else because I'm telling you, if there's anybody that says he's ready to fight with Trump to go after MSNBC for the comments they made about Trump being an insurrectionist and a rapist being in office, listen to this. Because if you didn't hear it earlier, Bannon says we need to do something now. We cannot let this continue to move forward. But thank you so much again, Andy, for the super chat. He says, unite like piranhas against him. Politicians are masters and hypocrite like the rhinos we have like Johnson. I hope that Johnson isn't. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat, everybody. I hope that they can unify, get Trump's agenda done, and put America first. Listen to this.
Here's one of the principal reasons the country's in the shape it is because of those whiny right there in Morning Joe, led by the big whiner, Scott Galloway. And dude, when you're on this thing, don't lay out your psychological problems. You know, I struggle with happiness. I don't care what you struggle with, bro. You know the reason that the middle class has been assaulted and the working class have been destroyed? Galloway, you. Look in the mirror and look at the problem. It's you. You people in that whole Morning Joe, that's the Washington consensus. What have you guys done for you? You've been in charge most of the time. You were in charge of buying things. What did you do? What did you do? And you have the gall to refer to President Trump as an insurrectionist and a rapist? Screw you, dude. I refer to the paper of record to back me up. This is Saturday's edition, or excuse me, this is Monday's edition. January 6th, the 4-year anniversary of Patriots Day. Right there. That article by Jonathan Weissman of the New York Times takes up how Democrats lost the working class vote. Right there. And it lays out Robert Reich. It goes in excruciating detail, bro, of how you used to have a working class party, and starting with Clinton, you abandoned the working class, you abandoned the middle class, and you never say anything about it. I understand you don't know anything about finance or economics because you're a marketing professor. This is how desperate they are. They got some clown marketing professor over at that struggles with happiness. I struggle with happiness. I don't care. Don't give me the psychology. I don't care about your problems. Take your problems somewhere else. Your personal problems. You know, I struggle with happiness too. Well, he's supposed to be empathetic. You know, Scott, he struggles with happiness, but he's really worried about the working people. You're not worried about anybody but your own self, the credentialed class. You're the problem, bro. When the revolution comes, and it's coming, unless you follow the path of populist nationalism, I said this over and over again, you are one of the first guys who are going to get swept up in it. Because you and the Morning Joe cohorts had every opportunity to change things, and you didn't. And now, if you got slapped the second time, You're sitting there going, oh, and yeah, look at this. The Democratic Party's estrangement from working class voters first became clear with Mr. Trump's upset of Hillary Clinton in 2016. What did you do in the interim? And don't tell me Bernie Sanders, that's a pillow fight. That's a pillow fight. Bernie Sanders is not serious. Every time they start talking about minimum wage, it's not serious. It says right here, in the end, the Democratic Party didn't focus on economics. They did some stuff, expanded the safety net, which is just getting the government to pay for stuff instead of the people who should pay for it. But in the end, however, they bet on foreign policy, opening China to capitalism. The donor class of the Democratic Party, the greedy donor class, and by the way, they're in the Republican Party too. That's why you can't look at Republicans and Democrats. It is populist nationalists versus globalist elitists. And Galloway, all you are is an apologist for a system that cannot stand, and you had every opportunity. You in the Morning Joe crowd, you were in charge year after we beat Hillary Clinton. This says it right here. Don't take it from me. Go to Jonathan Weissman. Can we put that up? Paper of record, New York Times, front page story on January 6th. It's not like they're hiding it. And he goes through Robert Reich, who we're beating on all the time. Robert Reich's the guy waving his hand saying, hey, guys, hey, look over here. You're not paying attention. Mr. Reich's message was largely unheeded for 30 years. 30 years. 30 years. And you have the gall plate again. I got to hear him call Trump an insurrection. But calling Trump an insurrection, he's calling you an insurrectionist. Dude, we're the frickin' solution. Okay? You're the problem.
Guys, I love it. Like, can you believe, like, the audacity that some of these people still have to call Trump this? And even though they've already seen these other defamation suits that ABC lost, had to pay out $15 million to Trump. He said there's another one coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Because, again, too, why would you call him something that he's never been charged with, never did, and yet all the Jan 6ers are about to be what? About to be released, about to be pardoned. But what I love is what you're about to hear next, guys, because I'm telling you, some of these Democrats are coming over, the more common sense, centered ones, and I love it because they're going to help Trump get things done. Check this out.
Of nominees already. You've suggested.
Just did one of your former colleagues here just about 3 hours ago.
Is that right?
Sean Duffy, actually.
Oh, Sean Duffy.
Yeah.
Senator Warner, the chair of the, co-chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, met with Tulsi Gabbard. He said he had a session with Ms. Gabbard. He went on with a lot of questions. He's still got a lot of questions, and that we have to do a process, a beginning of a process, suggesting that there's a long way to go. Is this Tulsi Gabbard one of the nominees that you could vote for?
Well, I met with her. In fact, I think I've met with virtually all of them. And the ones that I haven't, they're on my schedule, RFK and Governor Noem. So I'm happy to meet with all of them. And that's also part of this. I don't know why that was controversial. I mean, I got a lot of blowback just, even to meet with them. And to me, I see that as just doing my job. And I'm going to have a conversation with anyone that would like to have a conversation with me. And if someone believed everything that's been written or said about me was true, I mean, you can't possibly know me, or I think I could know her either, just based on someone read. But I want to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm really glad that I've done that. And some of these nominees I'm going to vote for already. In fact, whether it's our colleague Rubio, our Representative Stefanik, or even Sean Duffy, I expect to vote for him as well too.
Wow,
and
I love
Brooke
it.
Rollins for agriculture.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them I can say right now here on Fox. I'm going to vote for them. But then there's others, but that we're going to go through the process. But I'm open to hear from everyone, and I don't know why that's controversial. And I also would like to remind everyone on the Democratic side, that's the way democracy works. Trump won, and now they're going to run the table, and so they get to pick those kinds of people. And if you don't have to agree with all of it, but I want to find a way to work together on a bunch of them.
And I want to commend him on that, because that's the way it should be. Article 2, Section 2, sitting down, asking questions, understanding the vision, understanding what they want to do for the American people, and John giving them that shot, and they have to answer his questions, but that's the way that it should be done.
Let me ask you this about the press conference today. You know, obviously the American people voted on the issue of the economy, on the issue of immigration. Did you think that they were voting for taking over Panama or getting Greenland as a part of the U.S.?
So, Brett, what I think they did vote for is regaining American strength, that peace through strength, that respect in the world, that regaining our footing to where our allies respect us and our enemies fear us. They want to make sure that we get the hostages back in Gaza. You know, they want to make sure that the Abraham Accords are not only there, but are expanded on. And they want us to regain our footing. And so that's what you saw today, was a reshaping of that, and an America starting to lead. And I think you'll see that from President Trump.
You think there'll be more of this part? Go ahead.
Can I talk about, like, there's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. And I know there's a lot of freakouts, you know, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it, and, you know, whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too. $50 million, I think it was. It was recorded. It was referred to as Seward's Folly, and now that was Alaska now. So I mean, you know, open to having all kinds of conversations as well. And now I don't think it's not helpful to freak out, but some things might work out, some may not, but that's part of an ongoing dialogue. But he hasn't even taken office in 2 weeks. And, you know, we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. Because, but
That's good. That's a good one, John. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you know, we are here to work together. Yeah. And some things you can agree or disagree, but I think that's how DC works.
And you all have a great rapport. We saw it last time when you came on Common Ground. Do you think the 119th Congress is going to be more of trying to find that?
I hope so, and I hope the two of us can be a part of that. I mean, look, I think the people that elected us expect us, when we share a common goal with someone on the other side of the aisle, get in the room and figure it out. And there's a lot of things that we need to figure out for Americans, and so putting that first and figuring out how to work together to achieve that is essential.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I like I said, I met with Sean Duffy, and privately he admitted that the Steelers is a lot better than the Packers. You know, I mean, like, again, I don't.
And of course, I'm still with the Pats.
I'm like, I agree with you,
guys. I love it. Again, too, you see a Republican, a Democrat, who are common sense thinking. Say, you know what? It's okay for us to talk about it. We bought Canada. Remember Louisiana Purchase? Why is it so bad for us to talk about acquiring Greenland? I love it, guys. There's a lot of things moving today. Budget reconciliation, tax cuts, term limits. We just pray for those in California, guys, regardless of their political views. They're Americans, guys, and we want everybody to be safe. We don't want no harm done on anybody, and we want everybody, especially throughout the country, North Carolina, to be taken care of, regardless of what Joe Biden thinks in terms of him giving another $500 million to Ukraine. Final one, he says. We just got to give them some more money, yet we got now people in North Carolina that the government just told them, you better pay your property taxes. Doesn't matter if you went through a natural disaster or they're going to become delinquent. Literally disgusting. I hate reporting on it, but you need to hear the truth. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help to grow. Yeah, sometimes we get a thumbs up. Sometimes we get the fireworks. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to all of our members of the channel. Guys, y'all are so awesome. Appreciate y'all so much, and so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Want to give some shout outs to Bonnie Morris, Andy, Surgical Wizard, Brian McGavick. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. We are here for you to serve you, and that's what we need more from our politicians. We love you, appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.